Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. My name is Jane and today we're gonna watch some goth reels. So if you're not familiar what a reel is, it's kind of a short video with some text and some music behind it, which you can post on Instagram. It's kind of like a TikTok but then on Instagram. And since I don't really use TikTok, I tried to find some of these videos on Instagram. And if you're a goth, maybe some of these will be really relatable.
Spots off.
Looking like a goth can be so uncomfortable and so hot and so annoying sometimes, because especially if you're kind of hypersensitive, it's so annoying to wear all these things, and especially the lashes that I'm wearing right now are annoying me so much. So I will just rip those off as soon as this video is done. But yeah, I have seen some people say, oh, so you're a poser because you only dress like this when you go outside or when you make a video. Like, yeah, that is kind of like logical. Why would you dress up this way if you're sitting in your room not seeing anyone? There's no point in doing your makeup or dressing up if you're not gonna see anyone or if no one's gonna see you. You're not a poser for that. And also, goth people just look goth like 10% of the time. It's not like if you're a goth, you have to look like this 24/7. That is impossible, that is weird, that is not a thing that is real. It's just like there's no point in wearing your makeup when you're sitting in your room doing nothing.
I love her lack of energy. Go girl, give us nothing.
I understand that some bands don't want to be associated with goth because they just didn't want to be that. But some of these bands are kind of known in the goth subculture as a goth band, and then suddenly they aren't goth anymore, and everyone just gets confused from this. And some people are like, oh, so they claim to not be goth, so they're even more goth now. And I don't know if these bands are actually doing it to seem more goth or to actually seem less goth, but everyone takes it in a different way and it's just crazy. But yeah, to me it doesn't even really matter if someone calls themselves goth or not. Like, if a goth band that I like claims not to be goth, I will still listen to them. So
Oh my god!
I just think it's so weird that we're living in 2024 and there's still people judging each other for tattoos, piercings, and dyed hair. Like, you would expect people to kind of accept that kind of things nowadays. Like, I don't really understand why we're being so strict and so annoying about all that. And why is it so crazy to some people that some people have tattoos or piercings or dyed hair? Like, it's not all that crazy. Like, someone just decided to do something with their body, decided to modify it in a way that they like, the way that they like it better. I don't get why we're making a problem of that. I don't really understand that. And one of the comments on this video says, I mean, you're just asking for attention with all that in your face. In a way, maybe, because like obviously you're not getting all that and hoping no one would notice it, because sometimes if you kind of get these things, get tattoos, get piercings, of course you want other people to see it too, because you want them to see like, look, I have something cool. But people don't get that for attention most of the time. It's often just because they like it, because they think they look better with it, or they look pretty, or they just really love kind of looking alternative or crazy. And it's not always because you want people to make annoying comments about you. It's not like you're asking for negative attention just because you're modifying your hair or your face or your body in any way. Like, nobody gets those things to get negative comments from other people, or to get stares in like a negative way, or get attention in a negative way. Like, you can't really say that people ask for attention with that. Like, obviously you're prepared to get attention for it. Obviously you know that there's gonna be some people who have some comments about it. You know that you're gonna get some sort of attention, especially if you have a lot of piercings or tattoos on your face or like dyed hair. Like you will get a lot of stares, and you know that before you do it. But it's not like you're doing that because you want that kind of attention. Like, you do it for yourself most of the time. And I also don't really understand the thing where we still think it's normal to comment on each other's bodies or to comment about each other's appearance. Like, let people do whatever they want. Like, if someone is applying for a job, like, okay, you can be kind of more strict about those kind of things depending on what it is. But if someone is just walking on the street, you just shouldn't care about it. You can look, because I mean, that doesn't really matter. But as soon as you're gonna say something bad about it, like, why would you do that? Like, it's their choice to look that way. You don't have to like it, so you don't have to say anything about it. You can just kind of keep your opinion for yourself. It doesn't matter to that other person anyway, because they like it. It's not like if you're gonna say your hair looks ugly in that color, that they're gonna think like, oh, I look ugly. Like, no, they wanted to dye their hair that way, so they probably like it. We should just kind of leave each other alone in these kind of things.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it.
Yeah, so this person is naming a lot of things about like being goth or being alternative that can be really annoying. Many of these things are kind of about seen as a goth girlfriend and seen as freaky and whatever, which is like a very common misconception, but it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and this person names it as one of the things that is kind of something you don't expect before you start getting into an alternative subculture. You're just like, oh, I'm really interested in these things, and you start dressing alternative and you start liking alternative things and getting into a subculture. You don't really expect to keep being called goth girlfriend or goth mommy, and you don't really expect to be asked weird and inappropriate questions. But yeah, it's something that happens, and it's one of the kind of annoying things of being a goth person. And this reel also said name 3 songs, which is, I mean, probably everybody who is into any kind of alternative music or into metal or into goth music or into emo, they have probably heard this because it's such a common thing that people ask each other, like, name 3 songs if you're really that into goth music. Like, if you're an actual goth, it is kind of easy to name 3 songs, but it is still so annoying. Like, if someone says I'm a goth, why don't you just believe that person instead of trying to check them or trying to let them prove to you that they are actually a goth? Like, what does it really matter to you? It's just so annoying. Every time someone asks this of me, I don't even name 3 songs. I'm just like, you know, if you don't believe me, just go away, because nobody cares if you believe if I'm a goth or if I'm not an actual goth. I can name more than 3 songs, but that doesn't mean that you keep having to ask that of me, because I don't need to prove myself to anyone, and nobody needs to prove themselves to anyone if they say they are emo or a goth or alternative person. Like, except if they're saying all these kind of weird things and spreading misinformation about the subculture, then okay, you can check someone, are you actually goth, if you're saying all these wrong things about the goth subculture. But other than that, if someone says to you, I'm a goth, most of the time they aren't a poser, and you shouldn't kind of assume that they are. So you don't really have to go around and check everyone who says they're a goth to see if they're not really a poser, especially if they're not spreading misinformation. Like, you don't have to go around and check every single goth if they can name 3 songs. And even then, if someone is a fake goth, they can literally just memorize 3 songs and tell those songs every time that you ask them. So it's still not a very good method to check if someone is a real goth, because everyone knows this thing about name 3 songs nowadays. So most people are able to name 3 songs because they kind of expect this question, whether they are a real goth or a fake goth.
Oh, back in the day, jingle, 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 back in the day, before the back rooms were...
Well, we got another one of these. There happen to be a lot of reels and TikToks about this goth girlfriend thing. But what I wanted to say about this one is that I can relate to this so much, and probably every single goth can, is that if you meet someone who knows that you're goth, most of the time you have to explain like the entire subculture to them, because nobody understands what it means to be goth. Like, everyone's like, oh, those are the girls with black eyeliner who wear fishnets and who go to Deftones concerts or whatever. Like, no, that is not what goth is at all. People just often don't know what it is, which is like fine. If you're not interested in it, it's fine. But it's just, if you're a goth, you always kind of have to explain yourself, like what it actually is to be goth. People just have no idea what it is even about. And it is also kind of hard to explain, especially to people who don't even know what goth music is, because a lot of people that I've talked to who are not goth don't even know what goth music is. They don't even know the most famous goth artists, which is fine, but then it's kind of hard to explain like what is goth. Yeah, for me, every day is Halloween. I have Halloween decorations up all year round, but I still do always like kind of counting down to Halloween, because around Halloween time the shops are open and you can buy all these Halloween decorations and Halloween jewelry and all these Halloween kind of things. In my country, in the Netherlands, there isn't really Halloween things in the shops besides in October. I've seen some videos of American stores that already have Halloween things around in the summer. And I'm actually so jealous of that, because if I were to look anywhere in my country, I don't think I would find a lot of Halloween things yet, because it usually comes around October. So I literally have 1 month a year where I can buy these kind of things. I mean, obviously I can shop online for Halloween stuff, but it's easier to just go to your shop and look around. I am so relating to this right now. Like, you probably can't see it from a distance, but my makeup is absolutely melting off my face. It's so hot that I'm sweating off all my makeup. And this happens every time I do makeup or eyeliner or lipstick. Like, it doesn't even matter how warm it is outside. My makeup just melts off after a few hours. Like, I don't know how people walk around in a full face of makeup all day, but mine just won't sit good for longer than maybe 3 hours. Even if I'm just sitting in my room talking to a camera, it's just melting off. And if I go outside with this kind of makeup, it'll just be gone within a few minutes. And especially if you're wearing white foundation like this person, it's even more clear if it's melting off, because like it doesn't really match your natural color. So it's really obvious if there's like patches that aren't white anymore, because right now my foundation is kind of dying as well, but you can't really see it, I hope, because it's kind of the same color as my face.
6-inch Louboutins to score with my tweed outfit.
Jeff, did you read the Vanity Fair article?
I wasn't wearing Louboutins, I was wearing little brown kitten heels.
I've heard this happen a lot, that people who just have black hair or who wear a black outfit are being called goth and emo. I just think that it's so funny because I naturally have blonde hair, and when I don't have it dyed and when I'm not wearing any goth makeup, nobody ever calls me goth or emo or alternative. Like, nobody even notices that I am alternative. But people who just have black hair and are not alternative at all besides that are called alternative just because they have black hair. Like, that is just so insane. And I also wonder why tattoos are considered alternative, goth or emo, because I think most people that I know in my life have at least one tattoo. Like, it's kind of a very common thing in the world that people have tattoos, especially like in my country. So why is that considered alternative when it's kind of a normal thing? Like the most normal and even most elegant people that I know also are full of tattoos, or at least have a few tattoos. So it is not really a goth thing at all. And besides that, not all goths and emos have tattoos. Like, for example, me, I don't have any tattoos. So that is not a goth or emo thing at all. Like, who thought of that? Like, how is that even connected to the goth subculture at all? Maybe there's like a hidden meaning behind that, but I don't know what that would be. Before I react to like the text that's on this reel, this sound is used in pretty much every single reel that I'm seeing on Instagram right now. Man, I don't know if that's just me, but I'm getting kind of annoyed because when I'm scrolling through Instagram, all I hear is this annoying kind of blinking sound. With videos that are like 1 second long. I don't know if that's kind of like a trend or whatever, but I personally find it so annoying when I'm scrolling and I only hear this sound, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, yeah. So I often tell people that I don't have a lot of money to buy goth clothes or clothes at all. Because, well, clothes are expensive. So people always tell me, well, go to a thrift shop because there's cheap clothing there that you can DIY or that looks really goth or whatever. But when I go to a thrift store, every time I find something that I like, it's just the same price as normal clothing would be. Like, there's nothing cheaper about thrift clothing anymore than about normal clothing. Because people keep telling me that I need to go to thrift shops, but it's just still very expensive, at least to me it is. So those are all the goth and alternative reels that I found today. I hope you enjoyed these. Maybe some of them were a little bit relatable. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like and a comment on the video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!